In fact, in the final of Chapter 4, Prototype has already lost and we've won, and he admits it himself. I've come up with a theory that completely flips the final Chapter 4. Even Harley Sawyer himself said that we are the embodiment of everything Prototype fears. Prototype was afraid of us after we killed Dr. Harley Sawer, and therefore revealed that he is Ollie. I'm sure in Part 5, he will try to get rid of us as soon as possible, or he will ask us to come to his side. From the very beginning of the game, Prototype gives the impression of himself as a clever and cunning adversary. This is revealed as the story progresses. However, the biggest surprise is still revealed in the creation of the false identity of Ollie. Through this disguise, Prototype has managed to gain our trust, and Poppy's trust by misleading us and directing our actions in the direction he wants. Ollie, a seemingly caring and friendly character, turns out to be a tool in Prototype's hands, using the information to achieve his goals. After all, for Poppy in the first place, Ollie was an important emotional support and source of comfort in her torturous situation. In the face of abuse and constant experimentation by bad people, Poppy found understanding and support in her friend. Their companionship helped her retain at least some of her humanity and remain strong in these dire circumstances. Ollie showed care and concern for Poppy, offering to talk to her about her feelings and trying to comfort her when she expressed her fears and pain. He made her feel that she was not alone and that she had someone who understood and supported her. This made Ollie important and meaningful to Poppy, even in spite of her despair and anger. However, it was this emotional dependence that made Poppy vulnerable to manipulation by Prototype. By understanding her fears, despair, and need for support, he could use these feelings to influence her actions and decisions. When Poppy revealed her worries and pain, Prototype, through Ollie, was able to steer her in the direction he wanted, making her feel that he was the only one who understood her and could help her. This allowed him to control her and exploit her weaknesses to achieve his goals. But realizing this, I have to wonder why Prototype revealed himself. He could have continued to mislead us and Poppy. It would have done him a lot more good. He could have used Ollie to trap us and kill us on the spot. But Experiment 1006 didn't do that. One possible reason for revealing Prototype could be his desire to demonstrate his power and control. He may have wanted to show us that he was always one step ahead, that he was smarter and more powerful than we could imagine, and he needed it to hide his insecurity and defeat. That may sound a bit of a stretch, but let's delve deeper into the reasoning. Prototype clearly had some grand plan, for the realization of which he really needed Dr. Harley Sawyer. For the sake of this goal, Experiment 1006 didn't even kill the doctor when he had the chance. Instead, he forced the scientist to develop something for him. The key point is that Dr. Sawyer was important to Prototype as a valuable ally. His knowledge and skills were probably crucial to Prototype's plan. However, we ended up depriving Prototype of his ally, which could have seriously weakened his position. As Poppy tells him in the final of Chapter 4, Prototype has no one left. By revealing his true nature, he may have sought to intimidate us and Poppy, to make us realize that we were pawns in his game. Perhaps by this action, he was trying to hide his inner insecurity and defeat. The disclosure may have been an attempt to regain control of the situation and show his superiority. Admitting defeat through disguise could have weakened his image as a powerful and invincible antagonist. In addition, he may have sought to evoke in us and Poppy a sense of fear and his own failure by showing how cleverly he had fooled us. Perhaps he hoped it would undermine our resolve and confidence in our actions. He knew that the emotional strain and psychological pressure would play into his hands, weakening us in further confrontation. Indeed, that's what ultimately happened. His confession weakened us, and Poppy broke under that pressure. Her faith in the possibility of victory crumbled. Eventually, she left us alone, choosing flight as a way to escape the horrible reality. When Poppy left us, our team split up, making us more vulnerable. Prototype, being a master of manipulation, can use this moment to increase his advantage. Now that we are divided, he can attack us one by one, reducing our chances of survival and making us easy targets for his next traps. Despite all its capabilities and power, Prototype never killed us before, which raises a lot of questions and theories. Perhaps he really does have definite plans for us, and we play an important role in his grand scheme. While pondering this, it's worth noting that Poppy wasn't originally intended to be killed by him. This indicates that at most he would have relocked her in the case where we found Poppy in Chapter 1. So Poppy is needed for some plans, and those plans may involve orphans. So in order to grab her quickly and unobstructed, he reveals himself. By doing so, he sowed panic in us and forced us to split up. I have a few theories as to what Prototype's plans are. Poppy mentioned that Prototype took the orphans and they are alive but sleeping. That gives hope for their rescue. But why does he need them? Perhaps the experiment isn't killing them out of pity, but that's unlikely. I'm inclined to think he has specific plans for them. The orphans are probably needed to implement something that Dr. Harley Sawyer was helping the experiment work on. This may explain why Experiment 1006 left the orphans, the doctor, and Poppy alive. They could all be important parts of his plan. As for the protagonist, this is where things get even more mysterious. Prototype was undoubtedly trying to kill us. He sent his toy subordinates to stop us, but all attempts failed. Prototype certainly didn't try to personally attack the protagonist. Perhaps this is due to the fact that Experiment 1006 was afraid of us. As Dr. Harley Sawyer said, we are the embodiment of everything he fears. However, why, if he is so afraid of us, did he not kill us at the end of Chapter 4? I think he clearly had the opportunity. The answer is that Prototype needs the protagonist for some important plan or device activation. At the end of the chapter, he tells us to try to survive the fall, indicating that our survival matters to him. So, if we kill Dr. Harley Sawyer, 1006 may have a very good reason to keep us alive. My guess is that the experiment has decided to use us for its own purposes, realizing that we could be an invaluable resource for its plans. Come to think of it, Prototype, as a rather savvy adversary, could recognize that the loss of Harley Sawyer had greatly weakened his ability to carry out his plans. However, he could quickly adapt and find a new way to accomplish his goal. Instead of killing us, he saw in the protagonist an alternative that could make up for the loss of his associate. Knowing that we are a former employee of the Playtime Comber factory, Prototype realized that our knowledge and skills could be useful to him. We had access to information and manufacturing processes that could play a key role in his designs. He could see us not just as an enemy, but as a resource that could be used to achieve his goals. When Prototype was confronted with the fact that we were stronger than expected, and were even able to disarm Harley Sawyer, he probably realized that we should not be underestimated. Instead of destroying the protagonist, he decided to turn the situation in his favor. Our actions and ability to counter his plans may have convinced Experiment 1006 that we should be used as a new tool to realize his plans. Thus, Prototype made the best decision of all. The decision to let us live and manipulate us so that, unknowingly, we would eventually complete what Dr. Sawyer was helping him to accomplish. He could count on our knowledge and skills to help him realize what he had planned and achieve his goals, which might include using the orphans and other resources of the factory. In the 4th chapter, we are finally given the secret of Prototype's appearance, and it's a really significant step forward. Up until this point, we had only vague ideas about its appearance. However, despite this, his appearance has not been fully revealed. What is known is that he has a left arm and lower body, with fingers that resemble thin silver pins capable of multiple movements. Despite their fragile appearance, they can easily pierce flesh and bone. His forearm is decorated with red wires and metal components and contains human radius and ulna bones. Most interestingly, in Chapter 4, it is revealed that Prototype's lower body has the characteristics of a spider. It is equipped with 6 large metal legs that resemble scorpion claws. This image gives it an even more sinister and intimidating appearance. Ultimately, our every action and decision plays an important role in the complex and sinister game that Prototype is playing. We must be ready for new challenges and unexpected twists and turns, because his plans are still a mystery. All that's left for 1006 is to use cunning and shrewd strategies to achieve his goals, and our involvement is essential to his success. As it turns out, our survival isn't just a fluke. Prototype has left us alive not out of pity or fear, but because we are a key element of what we have yet to learn in future chapters. What do you think about that? Does Prototype want us to complete the work of Harley Sawyer? Did Prototype reveal that he was the one speaking on Ollie's behalf because he realized his defeat? Write your thoughts and theories in the comments, and I'll be sure to read them. Also, don't forget to give me a like and subscribe to the channel. Good luck, everyone, and bye-bye.